Hello everyone, welcome to this series on literary theory. And in this video, we are going to discuss Leninist Marxist criticism. Introduction. Leninist Marxist criticism represents a more stringent approach to literature than what Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels originally envisioned. This form of literary analysis, which gained prominence in the Soviet Union, particularly in the 1930s, insisted on literature's role as an instrument of the political party, demanding that it serve the cause of socialism. This video explores the evolution of Leninist Marxist criticism, its impact on literature, and its differences from the broader Marxist tradition. Early Soviet attitude towards literature. In early years following the Russian Revolution, the Soviet Union maintained an enlightened and experimental attitude towards literature and the arts. The 1920s saw a flourishing of modernist forms in art, with artists and writers encouraged to explore new, innovative styles. This period was marked by a spirit of creativity and freedom, reflecting the broader revolutionary ethos of the time. The shift to socialist realism. The 1930s, however, witnessed a significant reactionary shift in Soviet society, with the state beginning to exert strict control over literature and the arts. At the first Soviet Writers' Congress in 1934, liberal views were officially outlawed, and a new orthodoxy was imposed based on the writings of Vladimir Lenin. Lenin, in his 1905 writings, had argued that literature must become an instrument of the party, insisting that it should be part of the organized, methodical, and unified efforts of the Social Democratic Party. As a result, experimentation in literature was effectively banned. Writers like Marcel Proust and James Joyce were condemned as examples of bourgeois decadence. For instance, Joyce's Ulysses was denounced at the 1934 Congress as a heap of dung crawling with worms. The state imposed a strict form of realism, known as socialist realism, which demanded that literature depict the working classes' struggle in a positive, idealized manner. This shift severely limited the scope of literary expression, with George Steiner noting that it rendered literature impossible above the level of simplistic didactic works. Engelsian versus Leninist Marxist criticism. Marxist literary criticism can be broadly divided into two main streams, the Engelsian and the Leninist. The Engelsian approach, named after Friedrich Engels, stresses the importance of artistic freedom and the need to avoid direct political determinism in literature. In contrast, the Leninist approach insists on the necessity for art to be explicitly committed to the political cause of the left, aligning closely with the goals of the socialist state. This division is crucial in understanding the differences between Marxist literary theories. The Leninist approach, which became the official line in the Soviet Union, viewed literature as a tool for political propaganda, while the Engelsian tradition allowed for a more nuanced and flexible interpretation of art and its social functions. The spread of Leninist Marxism and vulgar Marxism. The Leninist approach to literature extended beyond the Soviet Union, influencing Marxist critics worldwide. Many intellectuals who sympathized with communist ideas attempted to follow the Moscow line on literature, adopting the rigid views that had crystallized at the 1934 Writers' Congress. This led to the development of what came to be known as vulgar Marxism in the 1930s. Vulgar Marxism assumed a direct cause-effect relationship between literature and economics, viewing all writers as inevitably constrained by the intellectual limits of their social class position. This form of criticism often reduced complex literary works to mere reflections of the author's class background, stripping them of their artistic value and focusing solely on their political and economic implications. Christopher Caldwell and the Limits of Leninist Marxist Criticism. Christopher Caldwell's Illusion and Reality, written in the 1930s and published posthumously in 1946, is often cited as an example of the rigid, dogmatic nature of Leninist Marxist criticism. Caldwell's analysis of literature is both generalized, with little detailed textual reference, and highly specific, linking every facet of a writer's work to their social status. For example, in his discussion of Victorian poets, Caldwell argues that Robert Browning's vocabulary reflects his intellectual dishonesty in dealing with real contemporary problems. This type of criticism reduces literary analysis to simplistic political sound bites, focusing on the social class of the writer rather than the artistic merits of the work itself. Conclusion: Leninist Marxist criticism represents a significant departure from the broader Marxist tradition, emphasizing the role of literature as a tool for political propaganda. This approach, which gained prominence in the Soviet Union and influenced Marxist critics worldwide, often reduced literature to a mere reflection of the author's social class, neglecting its artistic and aesthetic qualities. While this form of criticism played a role in promoting socialist ideals, it also stifled creativity and limited the scope of literary expression, leaving a lasting impact on the development of literary criticism in the 20th century. So this was the discussion on the Leninist Marxist criticism. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.